All right.
Yes. You didn't even tell me you were doing that.
I got to pull out the party horn. It is michED month. And what does that mean, Jeff? Well, first I got to introduce. I'm Brandon, and this is Jeff Gerlach. We call him J Glock. He's in his basement.
You guys call me that, yeah.
Yeah, don't do gang signs, man. So May, in case you don't know, is michED month. Well, what does that mean? Well, every week there's these topics. There's different topics for you to blog, tweet, Vine, Instagram, post about. You know, that's what we want to do. Is we want to get people to share their stories. So each week there's a different topic. They're all listed on michED.net. So go check out michED.net. Week 1, memorable moments with students. So that's what we're talking about tonight on the michED chat. So Jeff, question number 1 is, and we're being hosted tonight by the fabulous Ben Rhymes. Ben Rhymes is doing some native video Twitter questions, which I like. He says, no, question number 1, how do you know when moments in the classroom are memorable for you and your students? Now you've obviously had some experience with that, but we found some good tweets though that are illustrating this, right?
Yeah, let's go to the tweets.
Let's go to the tweets. Well, the first,
putting you on the spot. Let's get it.
There we go. First tweet we got right here is from our buddy Jeff Bush. Jeff Bush says, "Might be hot and cold tonight, michED. Working on a latte dinner." So we see a lot of food there, but I don't see any lattes. Maybe later on he's going to have some lattes. You know, you have your meat, you're enjoying the brisk May air, and you have a latte and stay up late and talking with friends. So, Jeff, enjoy your latte dinner.
Latte?
It very well could be.
I don't see an A in there. Oh yeah, that's right. La. Where's the second A?
Oh,
latte.
We are so rude. He made a simple mistake, and we're giving him the business. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. Okay.
Don't trust your autocorrect, Jeff.
That's right. Okay, so we've got one here from Rick Blaze, something like that. Hope we said it right. Answer 1. When students tell you best day ever and the next class asks, can we do that too? That's a good day, right?
Man, I've been seeing a couple of things along that way. It's like when the kids bring stuff up and they want to do stuff over and over and over again. That's something I can relate to too. So that's a really good point. Simple as it sounds, when kids are talking about it forever, it's probably pretty memorable, right? For me, I remember, and I was telling you this a little bit before we went on the air. I was a social studies teacher, and I played this. They Might Be Giants, right?
Oh, of course, I know They Might Be Giants.
So they had this song called "The Mesopotamians," and it has a lot of historical inaccuracies in it, but it did talk about a couple of rulers of ancient Mesopotamia, and I used it just as like a thought starter for our unit on Mesopotamia. And I swear, for the entirety of the year, those kids wanted to hear the Mesopotamian song over and over and over and over again, and we'd like listen to it during like individual and group work time and stuff like that, long after we were covering it. And I was just reflecting a little bit on that and thinking, man, I don't know how I really don't feel like it hit any standards. I don't really know that it had a lot of learning significance besides the fact that it made it fun and it made it our community, helped to establish our culture in the fall and carried it onward. So you never know what's going to be impactful, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
really, once you put it out there and have kids engage with it, it's really up to them to determine what's going to be lasting.
It sure is. It sure is. And just like Kyle Bechtel says here, when students are still talking about lessons from the fall. So it's May, it's been a long year, and they're still talking about, hey, remember that thing we did back in the fall? That was so awesome. It obviously had made an impact on them. Otherwise they wouldn't, it wouldn't still be in their consciousness. So of course, Kyle, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, my hope is that every teacher has one of those things, right? Like, it's probably hard to communicate through a tweet. I just rambled for a couple minutes on mine, but I think everyone's got that thing that they put out in the fall that is still like the coolest in May. I wonder if it's the same thing year in and year out. Like, teachers get excited because they know the kids just go crazy for it, or if every single group of students has their own unique thing that they grab onto.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got another one here from Angela Brenneman. Angela says, and let's see if I can share my screen fast enough. It's kind of a challenge to balance all this stuff. Angela Brenneman says, when there's laughter among both students and don't want to leave learning experience because it was too much fun. That's something that I'm sure we can all relate to. And let's see. She also, and to follow up, she says, when your students want to teach someone else how to do what they did. So they take it upon themselves to share their experience in the classroom with their peers. You know, you can't ask for a greater endorsement than that, right? They're not only learning it, but they're teaching it. So good times.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when they volunteer it, right? Like when it's not expected of them.
Completely unprompted. Yeah, that's
right.
That's
a good indicator.
The highest endorsement of all, right? Okay. Hey, it's our friend Ann Smart. And what does Ann say? Ann says, no students for me, but you know, teacher she works with has students Skyping with 70s gang members to conclude their outsiders unit. Man, that sounds dangerous. That sounds really cool. A really good experience, memorable experience. But dang, that's a little scary to me.
But you remember earlier in the fall, Ann was talking about listening to Biggie's "Ready to Die." So I mean, they're probably in safe hands with Ann if they're going to be talking to.
Oh, they're definitely in safe hands with her. But you know what? I just realized my mistake. I read that as gang members, like Al Capone, see, and you know. I was like, wait a minute.
Is Al Capone the only gangster you know? Name another one.
Well, Bugsy Malone, Dick Tracy. I don't know. When I read 70s gang members, I thought of it as 70-year-old gang members. So old, you know, these old guys who used to like run speakeasies and you know, run alcohol back and forth during the Prohibition. I guess they'd be older than 70, wouldn't they? My mistake. Yeah. And I take it back. I take it all back.
140 characters. There's a lot of ambiguity in there, Brandon. And words are difficult for you. I know
they are. Can you name another you know, old style gangster that's not fictional?
Don't we got other things to do?
I rest my case.
Tony Soprano's real, man.
Tony, well, he wasn't from that. Come on, man. You're better than that, Jeff.
They're now in their 80s. That's what Ann says.
Okay, that's probably true.
Be careful, she's listening.
She is listening. Okay, let's move on to question 2. We got a little bit of a late start. What's the most memorable moment you and your students have created this year? You were talking to me earlier about an experience that you had with one of the teachers you're working with, Angela, right?
Yeah, one of the teachers I'm working with, Angela Malott from Brandywine. She actually yesterday, her students were presenting at a business conference, and they were presenting business proposals. And there's this whole, it's got this whole kind of, the way I pictured it was this Shark Tank vibe, right? And I've been working with her to develop some blended stuff for the year. And she asked me last week if I could help do a practice run with her students. So we set something up over, we just did it over Hangouts, and her students would give me their pitch for their business. And, you know, I just, for a person who I've been out of the class for a year, it was really cool to interact with students directly and give them their feedback. And Angela was saying that they were nervous, they were really crazy nervous because they don't know me as well as they know a lot of other people, and they hadn't done anything over Hangouts before, so it was kind of a cool new experience where they were they were using that tool, but really, I mean, the barriers were down because Angela would set it up and kind of show them how they could do screen share and everything like that. And it was all about their presentations. So it was really fun for me to have that window into their learning and provide them with some feedback, kind of like one of the judges would be doing that didn't know them at all. And, you know, I don't know how outrageously helpful I was, but I tried to do my best, and it was. I hope it was helpful for them. I'm still waiting to hear. Angela's gonna tell me how they did. Anxious to see how those final products kind of changed between, you know, once with my feedback and everything like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'm sure, you know, if they were nervous, you know, they were probably, you know, preparing for it and everything, and you know, treating it as a real interview, right?
Mm-hmm. And then my mug shows up on the screen, and
then it's really
more nervous. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's a couple of rapid fire answers that we've got here. Nick Ball, at Mr. Ball WM, says other memorable moments have been science fair, standing on tables, Tiger's opening day party. That sounds cool. Penguin Day, and our first brain break. Valerie Rux says connecting via Google Hangout with a classroom in Iowa and doing a reader's theater together.
Oh,
that sounds really cool. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's good for both classrooms, right, to have that exposure.
Yeah.
To other people in other states. Doug Reagan at DReagan39 says competed against 20 other schools from other states and country in science events using Google Docs. Collaboration. Google Docs, not Google Docs. I'm not sure why I said that. And then Derek,
I like the background picture though of that last one. It was pretty crazy.
Oh, the fire? Yeah, check it out, man. It looks dangerous.
He's like he's blown into a pipette, right? In the
Oh yeah, I didn't even see him. I didn't see his face down there.
Yeah.
I was looking at the fire on the left. Yeah.
Sweet, Doug.
Pretty crazy. And Derek Brayman says, today a student asked if he could use the borrowed 3D printer to print something for his mom for Mother's Day. How cool is that? You're saving money and you're learning. Very awesome. I wish I had access to a 3D printer to make things. I
like the order that you put that in: saving money and learning. Like learning is the secondary thing, but saving money and getting a cheap gift for mom, that's the important thing. That's the moral here.
You know, saving money is learning because you're learning how to work with a budget. You're learning how to be sensible and shop smart. You know, hey, don't give me garbage. I know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Garbage.
Yeah, that's right. Garbage man. Number 3, often oversharing can be seen as vanity. How do we avoid this as teachers? So the thought of like, I think maybe, you know, some people may be hesitant to or reluctant to share some of the successes they've had in the classroom because it sounds braggy. You know, you don't want to be, you know, you don't want to sound boastful or like a know-it-all. But, you know, these are the things that we really need to, you know, learn from each other and highlight the things that are really successful for these teachers. So that we can learn from each other and use those successes. And you know, you give one, you get one back. Is there any, you know, have you been in the classroom? Can you feel that? You know, have you ever felt embarrassed of your successes and you didn't want to share them?
Yeah, I don't know that I'd ever say that I was embarrassed of what I was doing. And I would imagine
or more so embarrassed to like you didn't want to brag, you didn't want to be boastful, you didn't want to like appear as though you're trying to show anybody up. I
think the sentiment that no one else will find this interesting is probably a common one. Other people should weigh in on this, really. But like from my perspective, I would say that I would either other people aren't going to care. Other people aren't going to find this useful, or in this, if we're being totally honest, a lot of times I felt like other people weren't going to get it. Like I felt really isolated. I was doing a lot of stuff that was unique to what the people were doing around me, and so I, looking back on it, I kind of feel like I siloed myself with a lot of these thoughts. You know what I mean? I was never I was never embarrassed of what I was doing. I was proud of what I was doing, and I believed in what I was doing. But there was a certain sense of me that felt like, people aren't going to care, or I don't and because they're not going to care, I don't want to bother them with this stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure, yeah, and if you're in an environment where you don't feel like you have any like-minded individuals with you, they're not interested in the same, like let's use social media for example. If there aren't any people around you who are using that, and you have some really good successes with it, and I think a byproduct of sharing out to social media is that you're going to connect with other like-minded individuals and other people who will appreciate that, whereas maybe you don't have that same kind of personal learning network locally.
Yeah, I was venting with Cresta Wright from Penfield, and I was doing a podcast with her, and it ended up turning into more of a therapy session for myself. But hey, when you host those things, you can do what you want.
Somebody's got to help you out, man. Somebody's got to help you.
Well, I was just telling her, I was like, because you and I both have the opinion that we would rather have our stuff unseen than be a bother to people, to be spammy, and to be seen as people that all they care about is getting eyes on their stuff, right?
Well, we want to err on the side of not being annoying, right. And if it's good content, people will find it. Right.
That's something that we talk about as being our golden rule. I mean, whenever we're considering doing something new in social media, we ask, is it being annoying? Is it helpful, more helpful, or is it more annoying? Right. And she was saying like a lot of to think about, I was saying, but I want to get to everybody. I want to reach everybody. I don't want to, I guess the point where you're talking about where if it's interesting and people need it, they'll find it. But what if they don't? And that fear like sits with me now. It wasn't there as a teacher, as a teacher leader and a coach now. I like have this feeling like if something out there is good and might be useful to someone and they don't find it, like that's a failure on my ability to share. And really, it's like too much burden to put on any one person, right? The way this whole thing works is these social medias create the connections. You put it out there, and once it's out there, it's out there. If you learn something new along the way to be engaging without being spammy, cool. That's what we should be thinking about. We shouldn't be thinking about this one thing needs to touch every single person's soul. Like I feel like that's the opposite end of where I was at as a teacher, and it's equally as damaging, right?
Right. Well, and you know what? In the past year and a half, the sort of the growth of the michED community and other like-minded communities have kind of propelled those higher and made those networks bigger, and we're starting to see a lot more of this connection, right?
Yeah. The cool thing about like a growing like Twitter community like michED is that the more voices you get in there, the less burden there is on any one person to carry it, right? And so you feel like you can disconnect and go and do your own thing, and everyone else has got your back, right?
Absolutely. So let's go to a couple of tweets that we found for answer 3. Miss Bash at Miss Bash _OHS says, we as teachers are each other's most valuable resource. Without sharing our successes and failures, we can never grow and learn. That's kind of reinforcing what we were saying right there.
Absolutely.
Here we go. I'll start that baby. Stephen Teague, Steve. We've seen Steve before. Get to know those that are oversharing personally. You will find out they do it because they want the best for their kids. So it's not you being boastful. It's really about the kids. It's about allowing others to learn from your successes. Sarah Giddings says, agreed. If educators don't do it, someone else will do it to us. I think that's an important thing. If we're not sharing and being part of that conversation, then we sort of lose our stake in it.
Right. If your voice isn't, if you're not gonna fill the space, something will.
And that's right. And Robert Bobeda says, sometimes it's tough to share as an admin without teachers thinking you expect them to try it. It takes clear communication.
That's a great point. I'd be interested in hearing more from Robert about that. And it looks like the follow-ups down there. Ben said that's a great point. You need to be clear as a leader at times. And what did Rochelle say? Because I can't.
It says that is a great point. We work hard in our district to honor where people are at while all moving forward.
And two leaders in their district who have to negotiate that relationship, right? So it's kind of cool to see that conversation cascade. For other administration people in leadership positions, take a look at that tweet and get in that conversation.
Absolutely. And this one I just wanted to show because I thought it was a cool selfie here. Is Jeremy Wilder says when he's away from his class, he always connects with a selfie. Students love it. I love the picture. Great selfie.
It's awesome.
Check it out.
It's the simple things like that, man.
Okay, and Todd wants to join us, so I'm gonna try to work on getting him in there. So
is he out of line at DQ?
You know what? He had some. Gosh, I want to find that.
Todd is reporting in from the field. He's on site at Dairy Queen.
It looked like a delicious scoop with sprinkles here.
I put my order in. He better have my Blizzard.
Okay, I'll work on getting Todd in. Why don't you take question number 4?
Let's see. So question number 4, and I don't have too many tweets queued up for it, but let's just see what it is. How do you give students the opportunity to share their learning moments? So I can't show my tweets. Well, I could, but I don't have it set up. So let me just read through a couple of these. Matthew McCullough says YouTube, Twitter, Vines, WeVideos, S'mores, websites, blogs, performances are always students can share out their learning at our high school. Man, when I read tweets, for some reason I run out of gas in the last like 20 characters or so. A lot of stuff listing tools specifically, like a lot of online communication tools. Anna says class website, school, Twitter and Facebook, individual blogs, assemblies, expos, and display days. So a lot of conversation about presenting work, a lot of gallery walk kind of stuff, and that's cool for celebrations. Like make it visible, make it accessible, and so balance it between that physical and online space to celebrate work is a great idea. Hey Todd,
that's right.
That's awesome.
And we got Todd Block here.
Hey gentlemen, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I had baseball. I got stuck at Dairy Queen, but the ice cream's all good. We made some memories with the kids, and now they're off to the showers, so I'm ready for some michED chat. And it's great to talk on video because it's hard for me to catch up on the feed.
That's right. You got some sprinkles all over your beard, man. You gotta wipe those sprinkles off.
I'll have to pay for that later in the video archive. So I'll remember that forever.
We'll digitally remove them. Yeah.
Touch me up. I mean, you could get rid of the flowers too, the background. I guess I had to go to a different room. But
no, it's perfect. Have you ever seen Garden State? There's a scene in Garden State with Zach Braff where he's wearing a floral shirt that matches the wallpaper exactly, and he blends right in. Reminds me just of that. Hey man, I like it. I do all of my video chatting from that room if I could.
Yeah, it's a stylish room to be in. So what's going on? What do we got going on? I've sort of missed a lot.
You know what I think we should do, Brandon? Let's put up a couple answer 4s, and let's just have Todd give his thoughts on some of these things. Since he's got to catch up with the feed, we'll catch up for him.
Absolutely. Okay, let me queue up a bunch here.
So the question number 4, Todd, is how do you give students the opportunity to share their learning moments?
Hey, that's my question that I added to the document today.
Yeah.
Works out perfectly. Works out perfectly. Okay, so we've been trying to share these and highlight the tweets and have them show up on the feed. Our best buddy Tara Maynard says, let students talk every day, teams communicate daily, have time for questions, and time for sharing their ideas and thoughts too.
Yeah, that's important. I think what she's also implying is that we're listening to them and they're talking every day. We're going around and rotating from group to group and seeing what everybody's reflecting on, making sure we are archiving that in some way so that we can see what they're remembering from our lessons, so we can help to use those same cool ideas, the highlights that they're talking about when we plan the next time we plan, as a reflective teacher, using the formative assessment feedback from the students and making sure that we're listening to the students and what they're saying. That's so important.
Absolutely. Shout out to Tara. I always say we work with a Tara, and then I go back and forth. Tara. I know Tara Maynard, Tara the other one. So shout out. Okay, we got another one. Anna, who is at Do Think Educate. Class website, school Twitter and Facebook, individual blogs, assemblies, expos, display days. Also, just inviting other classes in.
Wow, it's a lot there. That sure does let students reflect on stuff. Wow, look at your Hootsuite. There you go.
You can see that? Oh, yeah.
I see Ben!
I see Ben! Oh, and now what is that, a heart? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
That's just too many columns for me. I'm going nuts. Look at Crystal Brown, Robert, but they're tweets out pictures. Yeah, you know, blogs are a great place to put ideas and have students write about what's going on. And, you know, if you have the technology in class, you better be having those students writing on blogs as much as possible. Our district, we don't have access on a regular basis, but whenever we do, our teachers try to get the students blogging as much as possible, and then taking the time to read and giving them freedom to write about things like, hey, what was the best thing you did today? We do a lot of quick writes in our advisory program, just like, hey, what was the best thing about your weekend? Hey, what was your best thing about learning this week on a Friday? Always giving students time and freedom of expression allows us to look at their memories and value them and listen to them. So it's always helpful when looking at their learning and thinking about ways we can improve our learning environment.
That's right. And I see birthday boy Elliot DeWitt is watching us live right now, so happy birthday, Elliot. Hope you're having a good day.
Hey, enjoy your birthday. I hope you got cupcakes.
It looks like he's eating cereal, so hopefully we'll work on the cupcakes there. So
hope it's frosted flakes.
That's right. Okay. Matthew McCullough says YouTube, Twitter, Vines, Wii videos, s'mores, websites, blogs, performances are all the ways our students share out our learning at our high school. I'm not sure what Wii videos is. Does anybody have an idea?
Wii videos, online video production program. So it's just like YouTube. I mean, it's just creating videos like a Vine.
Right, and it's probably like a walled garden. It's a safe environment without ads, without contraband.
Yeah, it's one of those types, a little more.
Gotcha. Okay, Rick Blaze says presentations in any manner, including social media, Moodle forums, and/or posting material in and around school. Our good friend Carrie says, hey, we're pushing the hashtag SPS Nation, which I assume is Southfield Public Schools, because that's where she's from, right, Jeff?
Yep.
And yeah, great way for students to share their learning. Megan Ryder says, "Oh man, look at that background, beautiful, beautiful."
Yeah, look at that.
It's like Todd's wallpaper.
That's like Todd. Hey,
it's my house.
Is Megan Ryder tweeting from Todd's house? This is crazy. This is nuts.
In Megan Ryder's Twitter account. Snacks and awesomeness. I want to be there.
Oh man. I always had a writing cafe every few weeks where students could select writing pieces to share. Pillows, lamps, snacks, awesomeness. Sounds very comfy. Sounds cozy. Good environment to share.
Common words coming out of this. Key terms: sharing, feedback. Open communication. I mean, all of this is qualitative interactions, conversations about student learning, and so I'm glad to see that it's not like how do you celebrate your students' work? Well, we make them take a test.
Yes, we M-step. That's exactly what we do every day.
M-step. Then we bring out the confetti and shoot off fireworks.
M-step. There we go. Party time. Party time. All right. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so question number 5: how do you rationalize the time it takes to share moments from the classroom? Obviously, it's time outside of your daily duties and your tasks to to share those successes and tell those stories. How do you rationalize that time it takes to share those moments? Well, obviously, I mean, it's because it's needed, right? It's necessary to share your stories and share these things that can help other teachers who maybe are in the same situation or need something to really entice their students about maybe a boring subject, right?
Yeah, they always say sharing equals caring, and and classroom's all about relationships. How am I supposed to get student X, Y, or Z to do whatever I want to do if I don't allow them to share, listen to them, give them a voice in the classroom, make them feel like it's an environment where they can be comfortable? And you're not comfortable if you're just getting spoon-fed everything. You got to take the time to let everybody have a seat at the table and share. I don't know, how do we rationalize using all our computer lab spaces for M-STEP and not for learning? Because we're using it for assessments right now. How would you not rationalize it? I mean, every place of work, you allow everybody to share where they are. I think sharing is a vital part of any workplace, because if you can't have those relationships and share everything, you're not going to be working well together. So, and if we're building students for the 21st century, we have to show students how to share and work in those relationships. And that's my thoughts on it. So we have to do it.
I think the very existence of this question, Todd, about how do you rationalize the time it takes to share moments, makes it seem like most people see it as a separate entity, almost an extra, when really it's the capstone of any sort of learning, right? You have to bring it to a close. You have to talk. I mean, it's not just a celebration. Woohoo! We got there. It's really taking it to the next step and assimilating it into the students' vernacular. When you share your stuff, you're still learning. It's not over. When you're sharing, you're still getting feedback. Published works, still get feedback from it. We still learn by talking about it.
You're telling the process of how did you get here is the sharing, and what did you like most about this project is sharing. I like doing this, and I learned by doing that. I'll tell you what, the most translatable skill to the workplace that we do are all the soft skills we teach in the classroom. Nobody's going to remember that I'm sitting here teaching students how to identify clouds, and that the high clouds are cirrus clouds, and they form from condensation and ice crystals, and there has to be aerosols in the air. That's what I'm teaching right now. Kids aren't going to need that unless they're going to go off and be a meteorologist, but they're going to need the ability to talk about their learning. They're going to need to be able to communicate to others what they're learning. They're going to need to be able to share. And we never assess those skills. We spend too much time assessing and focusing on skills that have no relation to the workplace, really, unless you're going to go into a specific job field. You study biology, everybody does in high school. How many people use the biology skills and remember mitosis and meiosis that everybody had to learn? Who's using that today? But we spend all our time focusing and assessing and worrying about these hard curricular strong skills. Hey, everybody knows Pythagorean's theorem, but how often do you use that? But how often do you talk to people about solving a problem and share where you're struggling and share how you got to the solution? That's the skills that are very vital, and I think really the problem is we spend too much time trying to rationalize out why we're doing that and too focused on the hard curriculum pieces, which don't really matter when we look at the big thing. They're the things that people get stumped on jaywalking. They're the reason why Jeff Foxworthy could make a show that was successful. So why is our society so focused on assessing these things all the time when our skills that we need are the vital skills? They're the soft skills we teach. Relationship, like in the poem, you learned everything when you're a kindergartner. It talks about all those skills that we never assess, that we never focus on in a hard, tangible way to show people how vital and needed they are. And I think they're becoming a lost art in our schools. That when I remember being a student, those are the things I remember, and the learning I remember best.
Yeah, I think the two soft skills that you were talking about there that are critical and yet really, I would say, underdeveloped from my anecdotal experience, are students knowing when to ask for help, identifying where they have they're having some struggles with their learning and what they're working on, and then also being able to receive and apply feedback from peers and from teachers.
I
Right?
agree completely. I mean, how people get offended, their emotions get hurt when they get feedback that isn't positive. And how can we train students to really take that feedback, because lots of feedback we all get in our lives are not positive. How can we teach students how to take that feedback and grow from it and maintain that growth mindset versus shut down or get defensive about it and really feel judged versus helped? How can we create that coaching atmosphere? How can we? But those are the skills we really need to focus on. I mean, really, do we need to sit there and hey, I enjoy teaching science. I love this stuff. I teach. Some of the content's great, but teaching the students about photosynthesis and all the products is not going to be something tangible to the majority of them. Do they need exposure to it? Hell yes. But do they all need to get it to the level of mastery so that they're going to remember it when they graduate from high school? Probably not, but they need to know how to go about solving. All the skills we teach around our content is what's most important for any one of our students. We've forgotten the true purpose of education. Education is about teaching people how to learn and apply those learning skills to anything they're given, but our assessment system really is too focused on the knowledge level things and a multiple choice task. Check. If you make a great test, you should be able to have, I should be able to open up my computer, not have anything blocked. Here's a question I have. I can Google anything I want. If I answer it the best way I can, it shouldn't matter what I looked at, because it's how I process my thinking and how I made something tangible. Because the smartest people in the world, they have an open computer. They're allowed to look things up on Google, and they're still inventing and doing better and new things. You know, we have to look at what we're doing to our students and how we're, you know, putting them everything in a box instead of letting them be creative, letting them express themselves the way they should. You know, I think some of the things we're doing with the Common Core are steps in the right direction. It's just the problem is when we start assessing things, we want to make it easy and cheap to grade, so we got to go, hey, we're going to look for keywords, or we're going to make it multiple choice, which is the worst way to assess anything.
Yeah, when we value knowledge and don't value human interaction along with that knowledge, then we breed a group of learners that don't know how to communicate with each other and to work together to increase their knowledge, right? Care about each other's learning, care about their own learning. Everything just becomes just I gotta know this stuff, right? Everything's an individual task at that point. Brandon, where are we at in the chat?
Well, it is 9 o'clock, and we've got a whole nother question we didn't get to, but I think that's okay because I think this is a really good discussion. And you know, Todd, looks like you've only got 3,400 followers. I don't know why you don't have 34,000, because I could listen to you talk about this all day. You're passionate, you're smart, and most of all, you're very clever.
I'm very. Here's Batu now.
He got arrested. I think he got arrested. He was joining people's tweet parties and crashing them. He said some things that he probably couldn't take back. He wishes he could take back, but
The internet police got him.
The internet police took care of him. But you know what? I did want to take a minute to just mention that this is michED month. May is michED month, and you know, if you go to michED.net. Click on the blog, I believe it is. It talks about how to participate in michED month. Step 1 is pick an event, story, project, or other moment to share, big or small. If you need help with ideas, we've got weekly themes. So this week, May 4th through 8th, memorable moments with students. That's kind of what we were talking about tonight. How do you create memorable moments with your students? Week 2, celebrating student learning. Week 3, opening windows into your classroom. Week 4, opening your school's hallways to the world. So, you know, again, these directions are all on michED.net. Check it out on the blog section, and share out as much as you can. You know, I think Jeff, you're saying you wanted to try to do it every day. How's that going for you?
Well, it hasn't. I appreciated when Todd originally shared out the document, and I was looking at all those questions. I was first like really thinking that. Wow, like what an undertaking Todd took to pull those all together, and I'm sure it wasn't wasn't by himself, but he shared the document. But kind of glad that it's a theme thing, and I'll get a blog before the end of the week, hopefully. We're halfway there though, so I got to get going.
Blogging every day is tough. I tried it in September, I believe, or October. Center for Teacher Quality had that, and it's tough. It's tough.
It is tough. It is tough. How do you maintain quality when you're writing that much? And then, like, does it become, well, is it better to do a short paragraph or two and stick with it every day, or do you want to do some more substantive ones and less frequently? You know what it is. The point is sharing.
Go ahead, but you have the best intentions to write every day, but then someone needs your help, and something comes up. And that's the only reason why we have something to write about anyway, is because we've got all this other stuff that we got to do.
And there was a hockey game. But
Yeah.
but yeah, you have the best intentions, but really blogging is for yourself. You're not blogging for an audience. You're blogging just to say what your reflection is to the prompt or thoughts on your day or whatever it may be. And it's really honestly for yourself to come back and remember where you were, and then hopefully by sharing it publicly, it's allowing other people to see what you're thinking, and maybe they're going through something similar, and it can help them get through it. Unless you're a professional writer and you think you're giving people advice, but I really blog for myself and just try to get my ideas so they don't get stuck up here and I go, oh, it's not letting me sleep. But it's really, michED month is really about, hey, let's just share what you're doing awesome in your classroom, because there's somebody out there in Michigan or not in Michigan, because our audience is definitely a lot big, it's global, who might gain insight and might become a better teacher. If you just help one, I mean, the big saying is, if you just help one person in your year of teaching become better in one little way, you're doing something that's positive. And for every one person you're helping, that's changing the 30 to 35 kids that are in front of them. So that's a miraculous thing. So if you can share one idea that just helps somebody, think about how many kids you can affect this year. And then if that teacher teaches 10 more years, it could be 350 children that you helped with one blog post. So it's just incredible to think about how you can help other people. And I hate to think about how teaching was 15, 20 years ago, or 15 years ago when I started, where we were just in our rooms and not talking before I became connected, because we're so isolated. And now we have these avenues. There's so many of us doing the exact same curriculum every day. We need to be sharing. We need to be helping each other succeed, because we all have the same goal.
Well said. Well said. If you're on the fence about whether, I don't know, I don't want to share this or not, share it. Worst thing that happens is nobody reads it. And like Todd said, if you're writing for yourself, then you're happy with it, and that record is there for you. And anything that you get from that beyond that is icing on the cake. Someone's going to find it. Someone's going to get something out of it for sure.
When we work in the open, you never know who's going to grab on and help you out. So.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, I think you've got a hockey game that you've got to get to, right?
Yep.
And Todd, you've got to clean up that ice cream stain.
I'm going for my beard, but
before
just everybody.
I'll stop by for my blizzard later this week, Todd. Just put it in the freezer.
Put it in the freezer. All right, I'll get that.
I'll take it. All right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight on michED Live. I'm Brandon. That has been Jeff Gerlach, and of course, Todd Block. You guys, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you, and we'll see you next time.
Have a great evening.